and for that reason, because they're false by preferring faith to reason, latently at least equally dangerous.
But equally false, but surely not quite equally dangerous because of...
No, latently I think so, because,
latently, maybe,
because of the surrender of the mind.
Yeah.
The surrender of the mind,
Yeah.
the eagerness to discard the only thing that we've got that makes us higher primates, the faculty of reason. That's always
Yes.
deadly. And always,
I'm not sure.
and I think
It's potentially...
the Amish can't hurt me, but they can sure hurt the people who live in their community. They have a little totalitarian
But not quite in the same
system.
way.
The Dalai Lama claims to be a god king of hereditary monarchy and inherited godliness. It's the most repulsive possible idea, and he runs a crummy little dictatorship in Dharamsala. Right. And it would be worse, and praises the Indian nuclear test, it would be worse. It's only limited by his own limited scope.
But if you added
the same evil
jihad to that, you would be more concerned.
Well, look, every time I've ever debated with Islamists, they've all said, you've just offended 1 billion Muslims, as if they spoke for them.
Right.
As if there's a definite threat to this, a menace, a military tone to what they say. In other words, if they'd said, you've just offended me as a Muslim, it doesn't sound quite the same, does it? If they were the only one who believed in the Prophet Muhammad. No, it's 1 billion. And by the way, what's implied in that is watch out.
Right.
I don't care. If it was only one person who believed that the Prophet Muhammad had been given dictation by the Archangel Gabriel, I'd still say what I was saying.
Right, but you wouldn't lay awake
And
at
it would
night.
be just as dangerous that they believed that, yes. It would, because it could spread. The belief could become more
but
general.
It has, in the case of Islam, it has spread and is spreading, and so its danger is not only potential but actual.
I can see no contradiction.
Yes, but over
Talking
space
about
and
things.
time, I think this tremendously evens out. I mean, I didn't expect, I'm sure neither did you, in the 60s, that there would be such a threat from Jewish fundamentalism. Relatively small numbers, but in a very important place, strategic place, and deciding to try and bring on the Messiah by stealing other people's land and trying to bring on the end.
Yeah.
It's numerically, it's extremely small.
Right.
But the consequences that it's had have been absolutely calamitous. And we didn't used to think, actually, of Judaism as a threat in that way at all.
Yeah.
Until the Zionist movement annexed the Messianic, or fused with it, because the Messianists didn't used to be Zionists, as you know. So you never know when it's going to be next. I
certainly
agree. I'm not likely to have my throat cut at the supermarket by a Quaker.
Yes.
But the Quakers do a lot of the work by saying we preach non-resistance to evil.
Right.
That's as wicked a position as you could possibly hold.
Given the right context.
I mean, what could be more revolting than that? Yeah. Say, you see evil and violence and cruelty and you don't fight it.
Yeah, they're free riders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Read Franklin on what the Quakers were like at the crucial moment in Philadelphia when there had to be a battle over freedom, and see why people despised them. I would have then said the Quakerism was actually quite a serious danger to the United States. So it's a matter of space and time. But no, they're all equally rotten, false, dishonest, corrupt, humorless, and dangerous.
It's true. I mean, there's one point you make here that I think we should say a little more about, is that you almost can never quite anticipate the danger of unreason. I mean, when your mode of interacting with others and the universe is to affirm truths you're in no position to affirm, the liabilities of that are potentially infinite. I mean, you just don't know. So to take a case that I raised a moment ago, stem cell research, you don't know going in that the idea that the soul enters the zygote at the moment of conception is a terrible idea. I mean, it seems a totally benign idea until you invent something like stem cell research, where it stands in the way of incredibly promising, life-saving research. And so there's something about dogmatism which you can almost never foresee how many lives it's going to cost, because its conflict with reality just erupts.
Well, that's why I think of the moment where everything went wrong is the moment when the Jewish Hellenists were defeated by the Jewish Messiahs, the celebration now benignly known as Hanukkah, so as it can not clash with Christmas. That's where the human race took its worst turn. There's a few people But they re-established the animal sacrifices, the circumcision, and the cult of Yahweh over Hellenism and philosophy, and Christianity is a plagiarism of that. Christianity would never have happened, and nor would Islam.
Right.
No doubt there would have been other crazed cults and so forth, but there might have been a chance to not destroy Hellenistic civilization. Well, it's not a matter of numbers.
It's
a matter of, if I may say so, memes and infections, which will spread very fast. Of course, I would have certainly said in the 1930s that the Catholic Church was the most deadly organization because of its alliance with fascism, which was explicit and open and sordid. Much the most dangerous church, but I would not now say that the Pope is the most dangerous of the religious authorities. It's no question that Islam is the most dangerous religion, and partly because it doesn't have a papacy that can tell it to stop something and make an edict saying
control.
By all means, yes. But I would still have to say that Judaism is the root of the problem.
Although it's only the root of the problem in light of the Muslim fixation on that land. If the Muslims didn't care about Palestine, we could have the settlers trying to usher in the Messiah all they want. There'd be no issue. It's only the conflict of claims on that real estate. This is just to say that
well, both sides
both sides are at fault, but the only reason why 200,000 settlers could potentially precipitate a global conflict is because there are 1 billion people who really care whether those settlers tear down the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
Which it's their dream to do.
Yeah.
Because they have the belief that one part of the globe is holier than another.
Right.
Than which no belief could be more insane or irrational or indecent. And so just a few of them holding that view and having the power to make it real is enough to risk a civilizational conflict which civilization could lose. I mean, I think we'll be very lucky if we get through this conflict without a nuclear exchange.
Actually, I think that's a very good topic. What are our most grandiose hopes and fears here? I mean, what do you think reasonably could be accomplished in the lifetime of our children? What do you think the stakes actually are? And
how would you get there?
Yeah, I mean, is there something we can engineer apart from just mere criticism? I mean, are there like practical steps? I mean, what with $1 billion could we do to affect some significant change of ideas? Is there any practical?
I feel myself on the losing side politically and on the winning side intellectually. I mean,
that's just you don't see anything to do.
In the current zeitgeist, I don't think we would be accused of undue conceit if we said of ourselves, or didn't mind it being said of us, that we've been opening and carrying forward and largely winning an argument that's been neglected for too long. And that certainly in the United States and Britain at this moment, that's true, it seems to me. But in global terms, I think we're absolutely in a tiny, dwindling minority that's going to be defeated by the forces of theocracy.
Which will probably you're betting against us.
No, I think they're going to end up by destroying civilization. I've long thought so.
Well, of course, you may be right,
but not without a
because it can be a single catastrophe.
Because that's my big disagreement with Professor Dawkins, is that I think it's us plus the 82nd Airborne and the 101st who are the real fighters for secularism at the moment, the ones who are really fighting the main enemy.
So in what sense do you disagree on that?
And I think probably among secularists that must be considered the most eccentric position you could possibly hold. That's a tooth fairy belief among most people. That I believe it to be an absolute fact. It is only because of the willingness of the United States to combat and confront theocracy that we have a chance of beating it. Our arguments are absolutely of no relevance in that respect.
No, you may have many more takers, although not on the territory of Iraq. I mean, it may be that we need the 82nd Airborne to fight a different war in a different place for the same purpose, for the stated purpose.
Voila, by all means, there are reservations to be expressed by me, which I'll happily give you. But in principle, I think it's a very important recognition.
Unfortunately, we're running out of time.
And possibly tape.
I think we've